Good morning. A very warm welcome from us at the Unisa Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. We are very excited this morning to hear more about the Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator. As you are listening to the presentation by Mxolisi, who is joining us from Harambee, please post any questions that you have in the Q&A. We have budgeted some time at the end of the presentation so that he can answer the questions that you have. With me, I've got my colleagues, Mrs. Mandu Makanya, as well as Mr. Beki Mzobe. They will be joining me as part of the program. If I could just ask Mrs. Makanya, if you could please introduce our speaker to us. Thank you. I just want to share the program with you. So I've just done the welcome. So we will have an introduction of our speaker, Mr. Mxolisi Ngcobo from Harambee. Then he will be sharing with us what the Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator is all about and the opportunities available. And as I mentioned, please post any questions that you have in the Q&A so that he could then answer those questions at the end of his presentation. And then we will end off this morning with a thank you from our colleague, Mr. Mzobe. Mxolisi, I wonder if I could invite you, if you won't mind, please introducing yourself, and then you can go ahead and start your presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. Good morning once again. My name is Mxolisi Ngcobo. I come from an organization called Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator. I'm so happy to be here. Firstly, thank you for the invite from Unisa. And I know that we had planned to sort of like do this presentation earlier on, I think last month, and for some unforeseen circumstances, I couldn't be able to sort of like be available for that presentation. So I'd like to apologize firstly, and I'm just happy that you guys gave me another opportunity to sort of like present Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator and the platform that I'll be talking about today to you guys. So yeah, just to give a bit of background as Mxolisi in Harambee, before I just get into the whole presentation or the platform that I'll be presenting to you guys, is that I've been with Harambee now for about 8 years, going to 9 years. So obviously I didn't start as with the position that I'm holding right now as a youth network officer. So right now I am a youth network officer, but I didn't start as one. I started back as a call center advisor back in Joburg. So basically I'm based in KZN in Durban specifically. And I started working in the Joburg office, which is our main office for Harambee in Joburg. So we had a call center there, and then I operated as a call center advisor, and then quickly moved on. After just 5 to 6 months, I quickly moved on to another department, which was the assessments department, or so we called it the Work Seeker Support Assessment department, because being a call center advisor wasn't something that I sort of like wanted to do, not sort of like maybe talking down on call center agents and stuff like that, but it's something that I did not plan on doing, because going to Joburg from KZN, from Durban, after almost 2 years of not being employed immediately after completing my degree at university. So my confidence, yeah, it was quite shattered, and I got to a point where I just thought to myself that I'll take anything right now, even if it's in another province, as long as I have sort of like, you know, relatives that I could sort of like stay with, so that I could settle in and stuff like that. So that's exactly what I did. And then I started as a call center agent, and then quickly moved on to another department. And then I ended up sort of like managing the department regionally when I moved back to Durban in our Durban office. And since COVID and our whole work has changed, so now the assessment space does no longer exist because of COVID. We had to change our way of working, and then now I am a youth network officer, as so as I have explained. So yeah, so that basically is my journey. I have a financial background. So this kind of work that I'm doing is something that I was sort of like drawn into. I did not foresee myself doing work with young people and engaging young people to the extent that I have, with the experience that I have right now. So it's something that I sort of like really developed a passion for, after I started doing it. Completely saw myself working in an office doing accounting work and stuff like that. But I think with the lack of opportunities and being struggling as a young person to find a job, you sort of like have to do with what you are giving, and that's what I definitely did as a young person. I took all the opportunities that I was handed, and then I made the most of them. So I'm really hoping that I inspire a lot of young people in this event today to sort of like to say, take all the opportunities that you are given and then make the most out of them, because that is the way, for most of us at least, going forward into the working world. Just to quickly move on, about Harambee, like how it started, and how it got to where we are right now. Harambee is an organization that was established basically back in 2011, so it's fairly young organization. And then the work that Harambee was doing back then was sort of like getting young people or inviting employers or opportunity givers into our space to say that we have young people that are coming from out of school with at least a matric, and we are sure that give us an opportunity, we are sure that they can be able to do whatever job that you guys are presenting to them. Just give us maybe about 2 months to sort of like give them a work readiness program on how to act, behave, and how to conduct themselves in a working space. Even with only just a metric, I'm sure they can do the job that you guys are offering to young people out there through the vacancies that the companies have. So just to give an example, one example, we used to have, or we still rather have partnerships with some of the banks in this country. Maybe, for example, just to use FNB as an example, FNB would come to us to say that we are looking for young people with this sort of qualifications in the financial sector and stuff like that. We'll be saying, and then we'll come to them and say to that, no, we do have young people. Many of them do not have financial qualifications, but they do have a metric, and we can sort of like train them and give them a simulation of the working space. In 2 months, they'll be ready for you guys to come in and do the job that you guys are presenting. And we had huge successes with various employers using that model. But we quickly realized after COVID that it's not it's not scale enough to reach out to the deeper parts of maybe like KZN, or maybe in Joburg, or maybe in Cape Town and in the Eastern Cape and so forth. So we realized quickly that we needed to change our way of working to make sure that our reach reaches to each and every depth on this country, or in this country rather, so that we make sure that each and every young person has an equal opportunity to those opportunities that these employers are offering to young people out there. So that's how SA Youth was sort of like born. And then we partnered with a lot of other companies in the private space and the public space, and also the civil society space as well, but mainly the government space that helped us sort of like really establish this platform that we call SA Youth. That's what I'm going to be presenting to you guys today. Yes, so I'm just going to start sharing the presentation so that you guys can also follow along on what exactly I'll be presenting. So just a second. So what I'll be presenting today is SA Youth, like I said. So basically, it is a platform that we are sort of like advocating to young people to sort of like tap into and use it as much as possible, because it is for young people. So it says on the name itself, SA Youth. I will try to not take up too much time and avoid this being a very long, boring lecture. I don't mean that as a pun since I'm sort of like engaging with Unisa. So I'll try to keep this short, but I'm sure that we can sort of like um, ask as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation, because I'm looking forward to that. If you guys are not clear on anything, I'll be happy to provide any clarity on that one. So just a few items on the agenda is the fact that as a youth is to provide young people the platform at no cost whatsoever, for young people to sort of like engage as much as possible in terms of looking for learning and earning opportunities on a platform. So I would like for us to highlight the at no cost part, because that is a huge part of our advocacy in terms of like making sure that each and every young person in this country looking for an opportunity has the equal opportunity to do so. And then secondly, is to provide a network where young people can just sort of like have a chance to build their own profiles, to be matched to opportunities according to what they put on their profiles. And then also to get input in terms of building that profile, so that they can see like how they can be able to be more employable in the looking for work sphere. And then lastly, to get inspiration from engaging with the platform, of course, because it's not only just opportunities that are presented on the platform. We do have a lot of sort of like tools and other sort of like engaging tools that young people can tap into in terms of like motivating themselves. We do have some stories from young people who use the platform before. We do have other sort of like interventions that young people can tap into to sort of like upskill themselves, for example, as well. And we will be talking into that as we go along with the presentation. And then to also address the unemployment, sort of like the huge unemployment rate in this country. It's ever so rising. To think back, just to use myself and as an example, like I just mentioned in my introduction, is that I spent almost 2 years without a job. And then I just took just about anything that that came my way in another province. And then can you imagine if back in 2014, when I started working for Harambee, I spent 2 years without a job, looking for a job. Imagine now with the level of the unemployment rate has risen from that point since back then in 2014. Now it's 2023. So imagine how difficult it is to look for a job now. And yeah, is to basically sort of like really address that that part, and sort of like make sure that young people stand a chance and make sure that they put their best foot forward in terms of finding employment. And then lastly, is to transform the work seekers experience, like using that platform in terms of like like I just mentioned, we have a lot of interventions within the platform to encourage you, to inspire you and motivate you to stay engaged with the platform and also upskill yourself. So like I said, we will be talking much more about that as we go along with the presentation. All right. I like this slide. So this is sort of like a snippet that was taken out from one of the interviews that was sort of like on TV, basically, from Carte Blanche, to be specific, that is addressing the key challenges that young people are facing in this country. So like the three that we took out from this interview is the ones that I mentioned at the top right there. It's no work experience from young people. And we know that a lot of employers are looking for people with experience, but you need to work first to have that experience. So we will be tapping into sort of like breaking down how can you get experience within SA Youth platform, and so sort of like breach that gap of having the experience that is required for an opportunity that you might be applying for. And then no qualifications beyond the metric. So like I said, again, initially when I started this presentation is that back then when we used the old model, Harambee used the old model of working, or the old way of working, is that we sort of like really advocated with the employers that yes, our candidates or our young people only have metric and nothing beyond that, because of a lot of challenges. Maybe it could be financial challenges to go into university and stuff like that. And but we do advocate for them that they can be able to do the job, provided that we provide them with the work simulation that we used to provide back in the day. It's not used to, but we still provide that simulation, but it's done differently now because now everything is done virtually. So there are sort of like interventions to help young people still on the platform to sort of like bridge that gap in terms of like training them and making them aware and ready for the workspace, even though they only have like metric. And then lastly, no time no time and money to look for work. And this is another barrier that young people are facing, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds, or maybe in the townships and maybe in the rural areas as well. So we know that it can cost a lot of money to look for a job. So this platform is to address that as well, to say that this is a free or no cost platform for young people to use in the comfort of their own homes or maybe their community. We are sort of like really tackling or removing or advocating to remove that barrier as well. So those are the three challenges that we sort of like really highlighted from the interview and to look to address. So this is how Harambee specifically was operating. This is sort of like a timeline or a vision that we sort of like looking forward to achieve from where we started, from establishing or being aware of the problem, to the first 10 years of operating as Harambee, the work that we have done in the past 10 years, and then now looking to the next 10 years and what we are looking and envisioning what the work or what young people will have access to, because access is a very big thing in terms of like being able to tap into opportunities. Is to firstly sort of like really think that do young people have access to seeing those opportunities at least. So we are very big advocates for access into this to the sphere of being able to tap into opportunities. So firstly, the problem. We did realize that the problem is millions and millions of young people in this country do not have the sight of the opportunities. Like I just mentioned from the previous slide, it could be maybe qualifications. It could be money to look for a job, because it costs a lot of money to look for a job. So that was the problem, or one of the problems that this country was facing in terms of looking for opportunities. And then on our first 10 years of operating as Harambee, like I mentioned again, is the fact that we did operate to advocating for young people to say that whether you have a degree or maybe even post-grad qualification down to a metric level, those young people can do the same job, entry-level job that is, not all the jobs to be specific, but entry-level jobs, they can do the same amount or the same level or perform at the same level and on entry-level job, given that we do train them and do a simulation of the working environment with them for about 2 months. We call that period, or we used to call that intervention, a bridge at Harambee. So we bridge them to sort of like prepare them for the work experience or the working environment they'll be going into. So that's what we did for the first 10 years, but it was very, how can I put it, very practical work. It required a lot of traveling. So I used to travel a lot because I was sort of like managing the space back in the day. So I used to travel a lot around the country, sort of like running assessments, because we needed to go, for example, let me just use, let's say I needed to go to the Northwest, maybe in Potchefstroom, for instance. Maybe there's a Nedbank or an FNB in Potch, or maybe in Potchefstroom, and then we needed to go and source young people from that area and do assessments first, initial assessments first, and then after initial assessments, we would sort of like do our evaluation in terms of like who can be funneled into this opportunity, who can be funneled to other opportunities as well. And then after that, there comes the bridge, and then there comes the opportunity. So the process was quite long, and it wasn't working, to be quite honest. So I could say that thanks to COVID, in a way, not that COVID was a positive thing in any way whatsoever, but looking at the positives and being positive is that COVID sort of like really kicked us in the head to say that we need to change our way of working to make sure that each and every young person in the country gets the opportunities equally, because you can imagine that some people or some young people couldn't manage to sort of like come to the area because we are sort of like situated in a central area, and then we invite people to come in for assessments, so they'd use money or transport money to come to us, even though we have made it so far towards them, but they still use money to come to us to do those assessments maybe for 2 or 3 days. And then, it required them to sort of like spend some level of money at least. But now with SA Youth, we've removed that barrier to say that you can do this in the comfort of your own home or maybe in your community as well. And then for the next 10 years, we are hoping and we are looking and working towards making sure that all these barriers are removed completely for young people to access these opportunities without any barriers whatsoever. So this is our vision as Harambee using SA Youth platform. All right, so what is SA Youth? So SA Youth basically is a platform for young people that is completely free of charge for young people to access opportunities, whether it be learning or earning opportunities or even upskilling opportunities on the platform free of charge. Now, this was established in partnership with the government, hence you're seeing Mr. President on the right-hand side there on your screen. So to make sure that we address this problem that the country has, the huge unemployment rate, and also to bridge the gap in terms of like young people, making sure that they can be able to upskill themselves with the programs that we do have on the platform as well. Maybe to use one example as one of the interventions that we do have for young people to upskill themselves is the Microsoft tools. We do have, for example, like the Microsoft Excel, also PowerPoint and stuff like that, for young people to sort of like train themselves how to use these tools, because they are very important in this day and age to be able to use those tools. If you are looking for opportunities, because employers are looking for people who are able to be competent in using the Microsoft Office tools. So we do have that free of charge on the SA Youth platform, and some of the interventions that we do have do sort of like you do get a completion certificate that you can also use or attach to your profile, your SA Youth profile, that is. So to help boost your chances of finding employment. So once you're done with doing that intervention, maybe like I just said, using Microsoft, maybe you're done completing the Excel training, then you do get a completion certificate that you are able to attach to your profile, and then it can boost your chances of finding employment because it does say that you're competent in using Microsoft Excel. And the fun part about this interventions is that you don't get to use them once. You can do them as many times as possible until you feel completely comfortable in using the tools that you're training yourself to use on our platform. So you don't just get to do it once. You can do it as many times as possible, just to make sure that you get enough practice to use these tools. So and also with SA Youth, it does match you with opportunities according to what you have put on your profile. So maybe, for instance, if like myself, you started a BCom accounting. So if you list that you've done BCom accounting, and you're looking for opportunities around that area, and then it will obviously be matching you according to the commercial sort of like opportunities. It could be from business to up to accounting sort of like opportunities. But you can also, it doesn't only just limit you to only those opportunities. You can also just search for other opportunities, maybe in different sectors. It could be something in the science sort of like space or other spaces as well. It doesn't like limit you to only look for opportunities or in the commercial space or according to what you have studied or according to what you have put on your profile. So you are able to sort of like branch out and look for other opportunities in other spaces as well. With SA Youth as well, we are also advocating that it also sort of like matches you to opportunities that are sort of like close to you. We don't want you, especially if you're looking for an entry-level job, to be spending all your income or your salary on transportation. So the system sort of like is designed to match you to opportunities that are very close to you, maybe like one taxi away from you, so that you do end up being left with some money to support your family, yourself, and stuff like that. So another thing about this, like I just mentioned again, it does not restrict you to only that. Maybe like myself, if you do have like relatives in Gauteng, and then you can actually look for opportunities in other provinces as well, or maybe Gauteng, and then if you feel like you want to move to another province, or maybe the other provinces are offering the job opportunities that you're looking for at a larger scale than where you are currently situated, then you are able to do that as well. It doesn't limit you. This is a very flexible system, or SA Youth is a very flexible platform for young people to use however they want to use it, just to make sure they maximize their options in terms of looking for opportunities. So basically that what SA Youth offers. Above and beyond that, like I mentioned again, is the tools or the sort of like the platform where you can sort of like train and upskill yourself with other interventions that are offered on the system. And also, if you're looking to start a business, we do have a side where you can also look at videos of young people starting their own businesses in the country, and how maybe if you have your own ideas and you've been looking for a job and then you can't find a job, and then maybe you do have ideas on how maybe you can sort of like tap into starting your own business basically, and then you see a market for that in your own community. We do have maybe videos and some content on that particular space if you're interested in starting your own business. We have also started sort of like really working in terms of like funding those businesses. We've recently started funding those businesses through these interventions that we do have. And we do also offer other sort of like avenues on how maybe you can fund your business at a larger scale, because our funding maybe you might see it as a minimum. But we do have a partner in NYDA, for example, like it's shown on your screen right now. And NYDA does sort of like provide quite larger sums of funding in terms of like the business that you are trying to start. They do help you start from scratch up until your business is up and running, and then they do also help you with funding. I think it's up to 250,000 rands in terms of the funding that they provide. So maybe you can sort of like look up that content as well that we do freely provide on the SA platform as well. And then you can take it from there. So that's basically what SA Youth is to provide a free network or a platform for young people to be able to use to find learning, earning, and upskilling opportunities for themselves in the comforts of their own home. And we do have also a toll-free number that you can call during workdays, workdays and working hours rather, during weekdays from 9 up until 5 p.m. During weekdays, And then if you need any sort of like help in terms of like your profile, or you're just looking for information, we do have like highly trained advisors on the phones that can help you with your journey towards finding an opportunity. So that is, in a nutshell, what SA Youth is. All right. On this slide, these are not all of our partners. We have a lot more partners than what we have displayed here on the screen. This is just a handful of them. The reason why they're here is just the implementing partners, the ones that we had even before we started with SA Youth. And some of them joined us after, immediately when we started SA Youth as implementing partners. So these are the companies that we're working with to make sure that young people are exposed or have access to opportunities that I'm just talking about right now. All right. So here's another example of connecting employers to engaged young work seekers. So on the right-hand side, we have the employers or the opportunity givers, where they have access to over 1 million young and engaged work seekers nationally. So please forgive me, my presentation is a bit dated. So the number has risen from 1.5 million. It's over 2 million now of people in our platform that are currently engaging with the platform rather. So yeah, so that number is quite dated. So we have more partners than when we started with on the platform, because that's how the system works. We have partners that we have a specific team that sort of like goes out and it invites partners to use the platform to present the opportunities on. And then on the right-hand side, it's young people who can access these opportunities that the left-hand side is sort of like giving to young people free of charge. So it's free for partners to join the platform to advertise their opportunities, and it's free for young people as well to access these opportunities. As you can see, the network service providers that are listed there, those are the network service providers that you can actually use to engage with the platform free of charge. By free of charge, we mean data free, doesn't use any of your data. You can just view the opportunities, excuse me, you can just view the opportunities right there and there. So I would advise that if you're struggling with whatever service provider that you're using, whether it be Telkom, MTN, Celti, or Vodacom, if you're struggling to access the Mobi site by clicking on or by simply typing sayouth.mobi on your what do you call this, the web, is it the website or the website line, especially if you're using Google Chrome, and then you go to your search bar, you just type sayouth.mobi, it will take you directly to our Mobi site. And then after you clicked on sayouth.mobi, it's completely free of charge. But if you're struggling to access the platform, you can just call our toll-free number, and then sometimes the link does differ in terms of the platform, not the platform, but in terms of the service provider that you're using. So the advisors on the phone, after calling in, they will give you the exact link that is directly linked to your specific service provider to make sure that you have free access to that platform. So if, like I said again, if sayouth.mobi, and then you click on sayouth.mobi, and then it gives you access to our platform. If it doesn't, then you can just call in quickly, and then our advisors will give you a specific, maybe an edited sort of like link to make sure that you are able to access the platform free of charge. So I hope that helps. So yeah, so like I said, on the left, it's the partners. On the right, it's young people accessing these opportunities free of charge. And then we have also support systems for young people that they can sort of like use. It's via WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, and also by just simply calling in. You can get the support that you need in terms of using the platform. And what do we have more above and beyond? What do we have that young people can use in terms of upskilling themselves or helping themselves on the platform? Right. So this is just a basic summary of a work seeker's journey on the platform. So it's you as a work seeker joining the platform like via sayouth.mobi link for free. And then you sort of like register your profile. And then after registering your profile, by the way, the profile and it's going to be your CV. So what we are trying to do is do away with using the CV sort of like format, because we're trying to do away with that. And you can just simply just answer questions or in a form of questionnaire. We have a profile in a form of questionnaire that you can just fill in the questions, and then you have a profile that is similar to your CV, because all the questions that on our profile that you'll be asked on your profile are things that normally go into your CV. So it makes it easier for the partners on the platform to sort of like go do information in, and it doesn't require a lot of CVs that need to be really ATS friendly, because a lot of young people in terms of using other platforms, not to talk down on other platforms, but maybe it's something that as young people, you need to look ourselves, the CV formats that we use, because sometimes a simple thing as your CV format or the CV structure that you're using is not very ATS friendly. So ATS is a system that is used by a lot of companies or employers these days to sift through thousands of CVs, because nobody's going to go through each and every CV manually. So they use a system or an AI system that goes through CVs that picks up what they're looking for. So if you have the wrong formats of the CV, or you're using the wrong formats of the CV that is not ATS friendly, then your CV is automatically kicked out. If you have spelling errors, then your CV is automatically kicked out. There's a lot of things that could go wrong if you're using the older system of, or maybe the wrong format of your CV. So this is just to avoid using that. And then employers can be able to just see through your information by seeing your profile on our system. And then so on the third side, or the third slide, is you as a young person engaging with the platform after filling out your profile, and then engaging with the platform above and beyond just looking for an opportunity to see how can you upskill yourself in terms of getting ready for the working environment, or maybe you just need to see how you can get opportunities in terms of volunteering, like it's already narrated there. On our screens, or maybe you just looking to sort of like build your confidence in terms of getting ready for the interview, because also doing interviews does require you to sort of like really prepare yourself for an interview, because sometimes as young people we think that, okay, it's an interview, it's just questions and answer. It can be very nerve-wracking to go into an interview without like really preparing yourself for the questions or the type of questions that will be asked, and you might not be ready. You end up not answering the questions correctly. So we do have content in terms of preparing yourself for an interview, and then you can sort of like practice with your family members or friends with the questions that we do have on our content. And you can be ready when it comes to doing an interview. You can be ready to answer those questions without any problems, because now you already know how to answer those questions, because sometimes it can be very tricky because you're nervous, even though you know the answers, but because you're nervous, now you end up answering the questions incorrectly. And this is to help sort of like to avoid that. So, and then on the last side, it just basically shows an ideal sort of like steps to follow, or steps a young person will go through in terms of like looking for an opportunity, from the learning opportunities that we do have on our platform, to volunteering, to getting actual work experience, like waking up in the morning, dressing correctly, the manner of speaking, and how to sort of like act in the working space, and what to look for, and how can you sort of like raise up your hand to sort of like help more, and maybe to help build your CV as well in terms of like stronger references and stuff like that. And then also part-time jobs, we have learnerships, we have stipend work, and lastly, going into the formal economy jobs, which is like a full-time job basically. So that is a summary of ideally of what we look at, what it look like for a young person going through the SA Youth platform. All right. I did speak about on our platform that we do have an AI system that sort of like matches you to the opportunities according to what you have put on your sort of like on your profile. So these are one of the data points, just an example of the data points that the system uses in terms of like matching you to opportunities on the platform. So like, for instance, Bali from Alexandra, it's a 25-year-old female who lives within 20 kilometers of Morningside, has a matric, completed a 3-month call center contract, volunteered in a community, has a side hustle selling cleaning products. And then on the right-hand side, that's how basically it matches you to the opportunities. Because if maybe, for instance, it's looking for a young person with those points that are listed on the right-hand side, then obviously you're going to be a match for the opportunity that is presented on the far right hand side of your screen. So that's basically how we use, or how the system operates in terms of matching you to opportunities. But like I said, you're not restricted to that, because it's only going to match you to that. You can sort of like branch out to look to other provinces or other spaces as well in terms of like the work that you are requiring or you're looking for. So please do not feel restricted in any way whatsoever. Like I said again, we do have support lines for young people to sort of like call, message, email and stuff like that. But I would advise you that you do call in, because that is very quick and very efficient way of getting support on your system right there and there. So yeah, so basically that is what SA Youth is. All right, so basically now I'm just going to be taking you guys through the Workseeker demo, what you'll be seeing on the actual Mobi site that we have on SA Youth, so that you're a bit familiar of what to look out for and how to navigate through the system once you are ready to apply on the system. So again, we're using Bali as our work seeker. Bali from Alexandra in Johannesburg, has been hustling by braiding hair from home, but now want to get to other work experience after completing a course at Tivit College. It's just an example, doesn't apply to anyone here. You could be in Bali from somewhere else, from Durban or from somewhere else with a different type of education or from a different institution altogether. All right, so these are the 6 stages that ideally a young person goes through, from to register on SA Youth, to add your profile information, to apply for an opportunity to explore SA Youth, which I would really advise people to do, because that stage 4 is one stage that a lot of young people are just sort of like skipping. They just only go through to just they only go through to 1, 2, and 3, and then skip number 4, hoping for number 5 and 6. So number 4 is very important as well. Like I said, I would really advise young people to go through number 4, and then number 5, interview process, and then number 6, track my journey. All right, so the first step is to register on SA Youth. So basically on your screen, this is what you'll see once you go to your Google Chrome or whatever web that you are using. It could be Explorer, it could be another internet service provider, or yeah, something like that. But ideally, a lot of us will be using Google Chrome, where on the search bar you'll be typing sayouth.mobi, and then after typing sayouth.mobi, you click on the sayouth.mobi option. There'll be a lot of options, but I'm sure it's one of the first options that you'll be seeing once you type in the link. And then after that, you'll see the screen on the first sort of like picture there on the left hand side. There are three pictures or three phone pictures. So the first one on the left hand side, that's what you will see. It's to know that you are on the right page where it says join at the top. And then so before you apply, you will need to sort of read the terms and conditions to sort of like make sure that you are aligned with the terms and conditions, sort of like a consent form in a way, because it will ask you to consent, because you'll be giving out your personal information here, and we will be sort of like pledging ourselves to make sure that we protect your personal information and won't be sharing it with just anybody that is not vetted and not vetted by the SA Youth platform. So your information will be safe with us. So you will be sort of like really signing or ticking to say that you do acknowledge and you do accept the terms and conditions of joining SA Youth platform. And then obviously you move on to actually registering yourself by filling out your profile. Like you can see on the middle picture there, it will ask for your ID number first. And then afterwards, you will be filling out your biographical information. And then from then onwards, it will go on and so on and so on. On the second step, it's adding your profile information. Profile information goes to from your biographical to your educational to maybe your work experience if you do have a work experience. It'll depend from person to person, like which stage of their lives they are applying from, because some of us do have experience, some of us don't, and so it will vary in that aspect. So basically what you'll see is that you will be, as soon as you fill in your biographical information, you will sort of like have full access already without even putting your academic information. You will already have like your full access to the platform already. But I would advise again to sort of like fill out the whole profile before you actually interact with further with the platform. So if you can see on the other two pictures there, it has your high school education and then further education as well. So you will need to fill those out as to like which high school did you attend, which grade did you complete. There's one thing, this reminds me, there's one thing I forgot to mention is that the platform does support young people who have completed at least grade 10, from grade 10 up until, at least from grade 10, and then it can go higher from then onwards. So if you at least have grade 10, and then you can have other qualifications going higher and higher, but the minimum is what I'm trying to say. The minimum is grade 10, because we do have opportunities, or sometimes do have opportunities for young people who haven't completed their metric, who have at least grade 10. So you'll be filling out your information there, or your high school information or your secondary information there, and then your further education, if you do further education, like your tertiary qualifications, if you do have those, and then you're going to fill it out, of course. And then it comes to applying for the opportunity. So after after filling out your information fully, and then you'll start to see your opportunities being more tailored to what you have studied or what you have filled out on your initial part of your profile. So you will start to see the matching in a way, and then you will be able to see all those opportunities and start applying for those opportunities if you do wish, and if you see that you do qualify for those opportunities. Moving on to the last part, exploring SA Youth. So this is like my favorite part of the step, the exploration of SA Youth, which could be really fun for young people to explore if they give themselves a chance to do so, because there's a lot of content that we do have that you can sort of like really immerse yourself in and learn so much in terms of maybe if you want to start your business. Another thing that I mentioned, tips to be successful during an interview and stuff like that. So there's a lot of content that you can sort of like really explore yourself as a young person. We do have like tabs on the platform, where there is the applications tab where you just apply for jobs, and then there is the content tab where you can really sift through the contents that we do have on the SA Youth platform. And I can't mention each and everything because there's a lot of content in there, but I would advise, again, I would advise that young people go in there and really tap into that content that we do have that could be really helpful in any way whatsoever through your process in finding a job, or maybe even starting your own business, or maybe even just upskilling yourself, just to make sure that you you know about a lot of things that could help you in future. Could be job wise, or maybe in your business if you are looking for that type of thing. And then the interview process. So once you get to the stage, which I'm hoping everybody on this call gets to the stage, is the interview process. So once you get to the interview process, even though you still it's still within SA Youth, but now you are communicating directly with the employer. So that's why you receive an SMS to your phone directly, not via SA Youth. You'll receive an SMS via your phone, or even a call via your cell phone or phone, to be invited for the interview process. So engagement from then onwards will be directly towards you as a work seeker. But on the employer side, or on the employer end, they will be updating on the system that we have called Bali for an interview and stuff like that. But on your end, as a young person, you will be now communicating directly with the employer from the interview process. Lastly, track my journey. Track my journey is where, hopefully, when you get the job, you can sort of come back to SA Youth and then inform us that you have successfully being employed in the job that you are applying for. In this instance, or in this case, the finance intern. You can apply for, you can update on the system that you have been absorbed and you have started working, because we are looking for really success stories like Bali's success story here, to sort of inspire other young people who were in your position as well, who are looking for a job. And maybe you can also give tips on how you have done and how you engaged with the platform and how it helped you, and so forth. So this really helps us put us the word out there for other young people, to make sure that they do see that it is a platform that it is working for young people, and they can sort of tap into as well, and hopefully they can end up being employed in their desired fields or jobs, basically. So that is basically the sort of what you'll be seeing once you sort of register yourself on the platform. And hopefully it goes as smoothly as we just went through the slides as well. I'm just hoping, ideally, that's what I always hope for, is that it's very simple. You go from 1 up until 6 without any problems, and then you can come back and say, is SA Youth and Harambee did help? It's a platform that is working, and so forth. So yeah, so those are the stages that you will go through as a young person looking for a job. Okay, this doesn't talk to you guys. All right, so yeah, so this is basically it, guys. I hope it was really clear for everybody to sort of absorb that information. But I did mention that if you feel that you still need more clarity on anything whatsoever, I'm still here to answer the questions. And once I'm gone, once we are done, please feel free to call in the number. I'm not sure if I do have the number here. I don't know why it's not provided here. But I can sort of say the number now, because it's a very, very simple number. So the number, it's 0800 727272. It's 772. So it's 0800 727272. So that is the number that you are calling. A toll-free line that you can call it anytime during the week, during working hours, where you can sort of like get help with whatever questions or issues that you're having with the system, or you're just needing more information as a young person. Another thing that the toll-free line can help you with is the fact that we do understand that Harambee existed before SA Youth. So there are young people that registered through Harambee, before, and they are on the system. So people that were on the Harambee system before, they are going to be automatically on the SA Youth platform. So if you find yourself trying to apply on the SA Youth platform and it says that you do already exist and you do not remember your password or you don't remember your username and stuff like that, so the number that I just mentioned, you can call that number. It's 0800 727272. And then you do mention that I did try to apply or my application on SA Youth, but it says here I already exist and I forgot my username and password. And then they can help you there and there with the username and password, and then you'll be able to have access and update your profile in that case. So that's how it would work. Thank you so much, guys. I think that is the end of my side of the presentation. I hope it was clear for everybody. I really enjoyed myself, and I really enjoyed doing this work and giving out information to help fellow young people, because I'm still a young person. I hope this will be helpful, and looking forward to those success stories in the future. Yes, Lisa, maybe we can just go to the Q&A side of things, and then maybe I can answer some questions. I'm open to that.
Thank you, Mxolisi.
Pleasure.
On the question about the age, somebody was asking what age group do you focus on?
Excellent question. Yes. So Harambee or SA Youth is helping young people. So young people in this country are considered between the ages of 18 and 34 years old. So that is the criteria in terms of the age. However, I don't want to discourage people who are over or even under that age. You can still have access to the platform to upskill yourself, even if you are older than 34 years old, or even if you are younger than 18 years old. You can still apply, or you can still register on the platform, and then you can be able to have access to the content and the upskilling thingies and the upskilling programs that we do have for people in general, to make sure that we do help everybody and we are inclusive of everybody, regardless of the criteria that we do have. So that is the criteria in terms of the age. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, but if I understood you well during your presentation, you really encouraged anyone registered on the platform to especially make use of that additional content. So it's a lot of helpful information about anything ranging from, interview skills to preparing yourself to be employed. So even if you are not maybe actively searching for work at the moment, I guess it would be helpful for you then to be able to access that very helpful content.
Yes, absolutely, Lisa. Thank you for highlighting that. Yes, again, I do sort of like advocate for that, and do encourage young people to really look at that content. It's really helpful content. We sort of like have specialists in content creation for young people to sort of like tap into, and some of the stuff in the content space is stuff that we used to do in terms of like work readiness programs that we used to do in our bridging phase back in our old way of working. So imagine if it worked before for employers, because we did that manually with young people, having them in our offices, and we run these simulations and stuff like that. And it worked out well when we had huge success rates in terms of like those young people, even though they did not have the qualifications to be applying for those jobs. But we did have like really huge success rates in terms of them being fully integrated into those workspaces that they never like really envisioned themselves working in, but they are successful in those spaces just because they went through the process or the contents that we sort of like presented to them. So that's why I really advocate for them, for young people rather, to sort of like really engage with the content on the platform. It's really helpful.
Thank you for that. Somebody was also asking, just need some clarity. Are the opportunities on SA Youth for matriculants only, or are there also opportunities for university graduates?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So there are opportunities for everybody. Like I just mentioned that you at least have to have a grade 8. I'm sorry, a grade 10, not grade 8, which is standard 8 in other words. You need to have at least grade 10 and then higher. So there are opportunities across all boards in as long as you at least have grade 10, and then you can have your degrees, you can have your postgrads. There are opportunities for each and every young person looking for an opportunity, regardless of what to study and the level of qualification that you do have. So yes, I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Somebody was also asking if you've once received an opportunity on the platform, does that limit your chances of getting another one on the
Yeah, good question. So back in the day, we used to limit a young person to one opportunity via Harambee, but now we have opened all borders to say that you can get hired as many times as possible. If you get hired through Harambee 10 times in a row, like maybe you have like short-term jobs there and there and there, it's fine. As long as you are a young person who is unemployed, you do qualify for all the opportunities that you'll be applying for equally on the platform. So there's no restriction whatsoever.
Thank you. Violet is asking, I would like to ask, how do we tailor our job search on the platform? I'm asking this because I really want to remove the direct marketing commission-based jobs.
How do you tailor your jobs? Okay, so I did mention that as soon as you fill out especially your academical information, which is your qualifications and maybe some of your experience, if you do have experience according to what you studied, maybe in a tertiary level or maybe even at a high school level. So the system automatically matches you according to what you put in your profile. But like I said again, you are not restricted to that only. If you're looking for specific jobs, there is a search option that you can sort of like use to say that I'm looking for a specific type of opportunity. If you're looking for, maybe you're looking, let's say you're looking for, maybe you're looking to be a payroll administrator, you're looking for HR opportunities, or you're looking for something that is maybe you're looking to be a safety officer and stuff like that. You can actually type in on the search bar and look exactly for what you're looking for in terms of like the opportunities that you are scanning through the platform for. So in terms of like tailoring, the only tailoring or the matching that happens is according to what you put in the profile. Above and beyond than that, it's you going to look for something yourself on the search bar that is provided. If you're looking for something different, if you feel like the matching process is not matching towards what you're looking for, you can just branch out and look exactly what you're looking for through the search bar.
Okay, so that's important to note, the distinction between you will be matched to jobs, but in addition to that, you can search and use specific search criteria based on what you need.
Exactly, yes, exactly.
Then you spoke, with this post kind of like COVID world, and a lot of the things that you do are now available online. But Mlondi was asking, do you have any offices around Vryheid?
Yes. Thank you, Mlondi, for that question. We used to have offices. So per region or per province, at least, if I put it that way, we used to have at least one office, and that office had to be in a how can I put this, one of the big cities. So for KZN, unfortunately, the office was in Durban, and in Johannesburg it was in Johannesburg Central, Eastern Cape it was in Port Elizabeth and stuff like that. So you do understand. Unfortunately, what I'm trying to say is we do not have an office in Vryheid. That's why I said that during my presentation. Back in the day, we used to travel. If there is a net bank in Vryheid that is looking for young people who are in the area, we, including myself, would travel to Vryheid to assess and train and simulate those people and do simulation with those young persons in the area for maximum of 2 months, and then we'll put them through or funnel them through to the opportunity with the client at that particular time. So no, at the moment we do not have an office in Vryheid, but we do operate nationally. That's why we have as a youth platform that you can sort of like tap into from the comfort of your own home or even in your community if you're requiring any assistance or some of that content that we used to give out back in the day, just by sitting in your comfort of your own couch and stuff like that. So yeah.
Thank you for that. You spoke also about the whole issue of CVs and the profile. So just to clarify, somebody was asking about, can we please get a view of the required CV? But what I understood from your presentation is that the profile that you create on the system acts as your CV that will be visible to the employers
Yes.
or offering the opportunities. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Don't sit and do a CV. They will use their profile, and that's why it's very important to make it as comprehensive or complete as possible.
Yes, absolutely, Lisa. Thank you for highlighting that again. So on SA Youth specifically, as Lisa has mentioned, is that on the platform, on the SA Youth platform, you do not require a CV. We have on our platform, we have sort of like a questionnaire of a questionnaire basically, and then you fill out that questionnaire, which is something that you'd normally find on your CV, on your normal CV. To avoid using the CVs because there's a lot that's happening in terms of like your CV or CV format being the right one for the system that the employer might be using, the AI system that the employer might be using, and then your CV format might not be the one that is very friendly to that system, and then you end up not getting opportunities, and you wonder why am I not being called, even if you have the qualifications and you do qualify for the jobs on paper, but because you're using maybe the format that it's not friendly rather with the system that the employer is using, then you end up not being even called in for an interview and stuff like that. So we are trying to move away from that in terms of using this questionnaire, because it's very easier to pick up on the system. If the employer is just typing that I'm looking for young people with a BCom degree in accounting from this area and stuff like that, so automatically it picks up because you did put it in your questionnaire on your profile that you did a BCom accounting, you live in Durban, and you have this amount of experience and so forth and so forth. So it's very easy for employer to find that because it's not in a CV format, it's in a data point format, and as soon as they type in, it shows them exactly those young people from that particular area with those particular qualifications on their side of things. So, however, to help you further on the content, if you engage with the platform even further on the content that we do have CV templates, because we are not the only service provider that is providing or is advertising the opportunities. So we do realize that. And some of the opportunities that are presented on SA Youth are aggregated from the other service providers that advertise opportunities. You'd get opportunities that are advertised on Indeed, for instance, maybe even Peanut and Ditto and so forth. So some of the opportunities that are advertised on that, on those platforms, originally on those platforms, they do get aggregated to the SA Youth platform. And then those platforms might require you, or those employers originally using the Peanuts, details and stuff like that, might require you to have an actual old school CV. And then we do on our content, or one of the content that we do have is to offer you a CV template that you can actually download for free, and then you just fill out the details. That is ATS, it's proven that is ATS friendly, and then it can go through any system if you are requiring to do a CV of that sort. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Then there was a question, do you vet all the opportunities that are published on the platform?
Yes, great question. Yes, we do vet all the opportunities that go through the platform. We had, to be quite honest with you guys, because we are all about transparency, we did have an opportunity that was advertised on our platform that wasn't really, how do I put it? Yeah, that shouldn't have been on our platform. So we did change our sort of like coding on the system to make sure that it is very strict in terms of the opportunities that are advertised on our system, to make sure that we do not seem as a platform that just advertise anything just for the mere effect of advertising to young people. So yeah, we are very strict in terms of the opportunities that are advertised on our system, because we take it that from experience that we did have some time ago, and we've learned our lesson, and then we've made some tweaks and changes to make sure that that incident doesn't happen again, to make sure that young people are not scammed and stuff. And especially with our partners, and especially with people that are like really looking to scam young people in terms of like presenting bogus opportunities on the platform. We do, if they do not meet some of the requirements to present the opportunity on the SA Youth platform, then there are specific people, or there's a team of people that do follow-ups before it's even presented. There is a team of people that sort of like goes and does a bit of more digging on the opportunity. If there is suspicious activity, then it's removed completely and it's blocked. So yes.
Thank you. I think I noticed on the platform there was some information about that you will never be asked to pay any money for any of these opportunities.
Yes.
Because in the previous one of our presentations, we were also talking about, as you said, bogus job opportunities, or people being scammed. They are asked to pay money or to do something in return for this position. But as you mentioned, now you guys are on top of seeing that those kind of opportunities are not on the platform.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, so let me see. I'm just trying to group the questions. So there are, I think, about 2 or 3 questions that's got more to do with Harambee, the organization. So Sizwe was asking, do you offer any opportunities to volunteer with Harambee if you have skills to offer that can help your programs?
Yes, Sizwe, good question. I remember a time back when we were still just Harambee, a lot of young people did ask us this question: if there is an opportunity to volunteer at Harambee, directly at Harambee, not just any other organization, but at Harambee. I would say at this moment, no, we do not have the opportunity or those opportunities for young people to volunteer at Harambee. But through our partnerships, we do have opportunities where young people can volunteer. Some of those opportunities are just walking distance maybe from your community, because what we've realized is that some of the CBOs are community-based organizations that work with young people mainly, and we have them on the platform now, and we are working with them a lot in terms of sort of like advocating for young people to be onboarded on the SA Youth platform. So they are sometimes requiring young people to volunteer with the work that they are doing, and that's where maybe I can just advise Caesar to say that join SA Youth platform. There might be an organization that is very close to you that is looking or can sort of like absorb you for a volunteering opportunity where you can really just learn how to sort of like maybe learn how to operate in the working space and stuff like that. So yeah, directly with Harambee, unfortunately at the moment, no, but through the organizations that we've partnered with, especially in the community, there are opportunities and they are willing to absorb young people to volunteer.
Would it be fair to say then that if you search for opportunities on the platform, that there is a way to filter volunteer opportunities specifically, or how are those then kind of communicated?
Yes, so the opportunities on the platform, from volunteering to part-time to full-time jobs, they're all presented on the platform equally. But if you are looking specifically for volunteering job, and if you're maybe even struggling to look for volunteering job, maybe even in your area, you can, option one, you can just utilize the toll-free number that I mentioned earlier on. But if you are able to use a system, you can specifically look for volunteering by simply typing volunteering, and then it will show you all volunteering job in a specific area, because it's not only the search bar. You say volunteering jobs, and then it says city, and then it says, I think it says, what's the last part again? It's city and then suburb, yes. So it's volunteering jobs and then city and then suburb, and then it will show you exactly if there are opportunities in that specific area that you're looking for.
Thank you. And then the last question about Harambee, Mxolisi was asking, do you have any available opportunities?
Yeah, fortunately for you.
For Harambee, will you advertise?
I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, because I did go through, before we started our presentation, I was working on something different, and I did see through our vacancies page on our internal system, or our vacancies page. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is no opportunities. We had opportunities last month, but this month at the moment there's nothing. But what we usually do, Sbusi, is that we present our opportunities on PNet mainly, if we are looking externally for young people to come work for Harambee. So maybe just keep an eye out on PNet, and also of course SA Youth, not just only PNet, but also SA Youth, to make sure that we do reach out to young people out there to come in and work in for Harambee directly.
Thank you. And then as a last question for now, I think it's a very good question that somebody asked, and thank you for Anonymous posting this. Do you have any advice for those of us who are giving up hope? Similar to your story, I'm also hitting on 2 years of unemployment after graduation.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, this one is a personal one. My advice to you, these days or nowadays, it requires you to really go the extra mile to be recognized by the employer. I'm going to take a leaf out of my personal book for my personal experience, not just only the experience that I have from way back before I started working for Harambee, but I do have a friend who who didn't have any experience as working as what do you call these guys? A designer. He had no experience working as a designer, and he taught himself through access of internet. He taught himself how to be a designer, and he volunteered to be without pay to be one of the designers in one of the organizations in Joburg. And then one day, one of the managers noticed that he's always putting an extra effort in working through the work that they're doing. And then that's how we got employed fully. So my advice to you is do whatever you can to put yourself out there, to put yourself in the best position to get the opportunity. Because if you're not doing anything, education alone these days, I don't think, even way back then alone, is not like it's really not going to be the main solution to the problem of unemployment or you being unemployed. You have to put yourself out there. Because even for myself, when I started out as a call center agent, I put up my hand at Harambee to say that I want to help in that department. I want to do that. I want to help that. You guys need help. That's how I got out of the call center space, because I didn't, to be honest, I did not like being a call center agent, but I did put up my hand and put myself in the best position to be considered once an opportunity opens up. So do whatever you can to make sure that you are in position for an opportunity when the opportunity comes by.
Thank you for that. So really important to be very proactive, and I almost want to use the word strategic about the opportunities that you're looking for. Keep on connecting to people, put up your additional things. The degree or the diploma or the certificate might not be enough to get your foot into the door.
Yes.
Always be on the lookout for additional opportunities where you can make a difference, and that is how you could get noticed.
Absolutely, Lisa. Whoa, spot on.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And also thank you for sharing your story. I think it's important, when we see these people online, we always imagine, they just started running the race, but there have also been challenges, but it can be done. Okay, so I'm just going to make a few announcements from our side. We just going to run a few minutes over time. We said we'll end at 12:30, but it's short announcements, and then we're just going to end off the session. If there are any burning questions that you still need to ask, please post them in the Q&A. We'll see if there are any coming through before we leave the session. But from our side, sorry, I just need to get to my presentation. We just want to highlight that we will be having a virtual Grad Expo live event on the 17th of August. So the virtual Grad Expo is a platform that has been available for the year, and it will be available, if I remember correctly, until the end of August. But on the 17th of August, there will be a live event. And the idea is that during the virtual Grad Expo, you'll be able to chat with employers, professional organizations, as well as other higher education institutions. And the idea is that you would be able to get to know about opportunities available at different institutions. And the information will also help you to plan your next steps. So if you have not done so already, please take some time to go and register on the Virtual Grad Expo platform. And I've posted the link there on the screen for you to go and register your profile so that you can attend the live event on the 17th of August. Then in terms of our career events, please check for updated information and the links to the events on the My Unisa events calendar. For example, on Thursday, the 10th of August, we'll be hosting a presentation about teaching English opportunities in China. So please go and take a look on the Unisa events calendar for information about this event, as well as for the rest of August and beginning of September. Then the Grad Next book is a book that you can download free of charge from the website address linked to on the screen. And it contains a lot of useful information about topics such as looking for jobs, starting your own business, writing CVs, preparing for an interview, networking, as well as personal branding. So also please take some time to go and download that book and use the information to plan your next steps. And then from us, we would really love to hear from you. So if you have any feedback, questions or comments, please email those to Mrs. Mandumakanya. The email address is also there on the screen. And if you would like to contact us at Counselling and Career Development to have conversations about your career planning or any other aspects that are impacting on your studies, please feel free to send an email to counselling@unisa.ac.za. We also offer online appointments that you can book on Microsoft Teams, or you can contact a counsellor at a regional office of Unisa to make an appointment for in-person counselling. Then on our website at www.unisa.ac.za/counselling, we post or publish also a lot of content that you can use to help you with employability skills, career planning, but then also with study skills and personal development. And our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Unisa Careers. We also publish recordings of these presentations or events that we're hosting. So a recording of this presentation, for example, will be available on the YouTube channel within the next day or two. So from our side, I'm just going to invite my colleague, Mr. Mxolisi, to end off the session for us. But before, Becky, you join us, I just want to ask Mxolisi, somebody was asking if they would want to connect with you, if there would be a way to connect with you. So I'm not sure if you are on LinkedIn, for example, or an email address, if somebody would want to connect with you, if that would be a possibility.
Yes. No. Unfortunately, I'm not. My LinkedIn my LinkedIn profile. I took it down recently, but anyone can connect with me via email. I'm always looking forward to connect with people via email. I'm not sure if you guys have my email you can share with everybody, but just to say it quickly, it's very easy. It's Mxolisi, it's Mxolisi at Harambee. Harambee, it's HARAMBEE.co.za.
Thank you very much for that. I will post it in the Q&A.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and good day, everyone. I take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues and the entire Directorate for Counselling and Career Development at Unisa to express my sincere thanks to Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator team and to Mxolisi Ngcobo, who is our guest speaker today, for a very informative and inspiring presentation. Thank you for sharing with us the story of Harambee as an organization. How was it established? The vision behind its establishment. Thank you for sharing your story. It will serve as an inspiration to our students. You also explained the role you play in empowering unemployment youth in South Africa and the platform you created where youth can access opportunities. This information you shared today will inspire students and give them hope. So as a Directorate for Counselling and Career Development at Unisa, we look forward to a continued partnership with Harambee Youth Accelerator. So thank you so much, Mxolisi. I further take this opportunity to thank everyone who participated in today's event. We hope to see you in our future events. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Becky, and thank you from our side also for everyone who attended and the questions that you asked, which helped us to engage with you. And we hope to see you at future sessions. Thank you very much.